this is going to be a special one. We're going to learn about something new and innovative and different and groundbreaking. And isn't that why you became a master broker in the first place? To learn about stuff like this, right? With that, please join me in welcoming the chair of the Miami Master Brokers, Ileana Abea.
So, Master Brokers, I want to first and foremost thank Jason, everybody from Crescent Seas and the Gale Hotel and Residences for welcoming us this evening. And special thanks to Carolina Tarazona. Where is she? My friends, we once again find ourselves in an extraordinary moment for real estate. Miami real estate is always evolving, as you know. Just last month, we were hosted by Chef John George Residences, part of the new wave of condominiums branded by culinary and fine dining superstars. At the same time, Miami's still riding on an earlier cycle of new projects associated with the world's most famous and finest automakers like Aston Martin, Porsche, Mercedes-Benz. And before that, this global fashion brands, I just came back from Italy and I liked all these brands, Armani, Fendi, and Missoni. And I'm sure I'm forgetting another one ending in an I, this remarkable evolution of luxury residences at sea. Can somebody tell me you don't like going on a yacht and being treated like royalty? I'm sure everybody loves it, doesn't? I mean, you got me a hello. Yes. That's what we're doing tonight. Surprise. So we look forward to learning all about it from our host and panel tonight. And as we navigate this unpredictable waters of our current real estate market, and we know our real estate market is very unpredictable, but we find stability and strength through our partnership with City National Bank, and they're sitting right there. They're always available to provide us with the very best of the most flexible home loan programs. And just this past month, we had a private luncheon catered and hosted by City National, and a lot of our newer members were able to attend. So if you ever find out or you're invited, take advantage of it and go. So thank you, City National. And now to tell us, no, here comes the good part. And now to tell us all about Crescent Seas, please welcome one of the nation's most successful, respected real estate developers, a shining light of South Florida's business and philanthropy, and this exciting new company's visionary founder and chairman, Miami's own Russell Galbert.
Wow. Wow. If only my kids were here to listen to that. Thank you. Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. And thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. It's really a joy to have you here. The Gale also was one of these incredible projects done by the Severa team, led by the Severa team. But I think each and every one of you in this room probably sold a few units here. So we really want to thank you for your efforts here. And we do want you to consider the Gale hotel and residence to be, your place to come. We have a wonderful Italian restaurant downstairs. We're going to be opening a Japanese restaurant on the 9th floor, one floor above us. And it's really an intriguing place. We have this huge conference center, and a great big applause to each of you, including the Severa team. Jesse's here, and obviously our favorite, Alicia, is here as well. So, and everybody here in this room deserves a big thank you for all that you've done. So we just want to tell you a little bit about Crescent Seas, and I think the best way to do it is with a quick short film that we'd love to play for you now. So the whole concept is that we've been building homes in the sky in gateway cities all over America. The world is comprised of 29% Earth and 71% water. Tens of millions of condominiums are sold at land, yet at sea, there's only been one previous ship called the World. So that's the basic logic of why we did this project. And I'd just like to share some quick films with you, and then we'll go right to the panel. So really, it was all about exploring the world without leaving the comforts of your home. And Crescent Seas redefines world travel so that it's your ship, your ownership, it's your cabin. So if you have a secondary home, it's in New York. Why only have it in one place, static? You can have it visiting around and cruising the entire world. And it's really limitless living with more exploration and deeper discovery and creation of a real community. It's a community of people wanting to discover the world and wanting to learn what it's all about. To do that, we partnered with quite a few different people. So most of you know that not only have I been building condominiums for 50 years, I feel like I'm the oldest in the room, a little ancient, but I can tell you that the last 26 and a half years, I've also been in the cruise line industry. The last 23 and a half years on a Norwegian cruise line board, the last 6.5 years as its chairman. And the opportunity came because they were going to sell their small ships, and it was a huge opportunity. And I'm more of a capitalist than I am as a chairman of a Fortune 500 company. So I resigned and was able to buy these ships. Part of the deal was that I kept Norwegian Cruise Lines and the Apollo Group, which we have Steve here representing the Apollo Group. He's going to be in our panel tonight. So we give him a big hand of applause. He's really an incredible. The Apollo Group has been in this industry for over 50 years, and they've done a great job. So it's very special. They've been partners with Norwegian Cruise Lines for, I think, 23 and a half years. So we're very fortunate to have them with us, and we're very excited to have this discussion later on. Our other partners are really the design team and the building team. So the design team is extremely important. March and White, or Maud, is one of the more famous design teams for residential units. The Sony and partners did our spa, and Journey is iCrave, who did a lot of the common areas. So if you look at Crescent Heights, we have a history of taking 100-year-old buildings, that's 25 broad, and creating special magical places. So it's one of the hottest condominiums in Lower Manhattan, directly across from the New York Stock Exchange. We bought it when it was 100 years old. We rejuvenated it, and it has another 100 years of life. And we're very proud of that one. And also some of the other projects that you all have seen is 10,000 in San Francisco, or 5 Park in South Beach, the tallest and most luxurious building, or Forma, which was just completed with a Whole Foods on 29th Street and Biscayne Boulevard. So it's really a voyage of infinite horizons that will travel and traverse the earth into places that no one would ever go, secluded gems that are inaccessible to the larger vessels and to the most of the population on Earth today. And what we will do different than most cruise ships is we will stay in ports 2 and 3 nights, even up to 4 nights, depending on if it's important enough. So if you wanted to see the first agenda, we will be visiting 140 cities in 7 continents. It'll take 14 months. This will be our first world cruise, and it will come in December of 2026. The Navigator is something really special, and we're very proud to have it as our first ship. So here are some images of some of the cabins. It offers unparalleled lifestyle, but more importantly, it's your home. And we've taken every effort to make it something special. So here's a 371 square foot cabin. Every single piece is being replaced on board the ship. The ship will enter into a dry dock that will last 54 days, extraordinary amount of time in a dry dock, that will renovate the ship completely from wall to wall with everything coming out brand new. Image of some of the new bathrooms. images of some of the new rooms. Every single bathroom on board will be brand new. Closet and bathroom for one of the bigger suites, the Galileo suite. Give you an idea of what it's all about. So we also talk about service. On board will be 280 employees that are there to cater to your needs. One of the reasons that we kept Norwegian Cruise Lines as part of the team is because they guaranteed us that they would keep the team intact that has been on this ship from day one. And I know this team to be superlative because, as I said to you earlier, the last 6.5 years before I resigned, they worked for me. And they are an incredible team. And Steve is going to talk a little bit more about it as well. Sony did the pool deck, which you can see here is quite magnificent. It's very different than a big cruise ship that you would see today. It stands for ultra luxury and pleasantness. They also did the spa, which you can see here. It's really something quite unique and quite beautiful. And a spa relaxation room and another part of the pool deck. And obviously the pickleball court, which everybody knows you have to have a pickleball court today, and a spa and a really dining and entertainment second to none. That is the new Compass Rose restaurant and the cigar room for those who indulge. Private dining rooms, major theater and entertainment, obviously a wine bar and private dining rooms, even a hydroponic garden on board, golf simulator. So many different things that are so exciting to share with you. So I will tell you, our sales office is open here. I'd like very much to call Alex up here with the entire sales team. If you don't mind, Ian, come up. Carolina, they were asking for you earlier. Everybody come on up and say hello, please. Thank you all. Now, some of our sales team is not here because we have a sales office on board the Navigator. As I said earlier, the Navigator is still sailing and doing very, very well. I'd like to ask Alex to say a few words and introduce his team. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Vonen. I'm the Global Head of Sales. Exciting project, new industry, new lifestyle, and we're extremely happy to start this journey with you. This is Carolina, luxury sales specialist. This is Ian on the left. Is our director of travel specialty, and this is Mariam. On my right is Neely Galbet. So we are very excited. Again, thanks for coming, and we look forward to speaking with you, and I'll be around all night long. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you all for coming up. You know, it's all about, doing good by people and also making money. And that's one of the things that's really easy because if we do the right job and we care about people, we can actually do something that's good for them to create a community around them. And that's to make money as well. And obviously, Alex is here to answer any of your questions, but he pays a pretty good commission and they service your clientele from the beginning to the end. So it's a very opportunistic thing to do. So without further ado, I think we're going to start on our panel. And I just want to see, is all of our panelists here? And let's see who we're missing. Marissa? Dominique? There's Dominique? Yeah.
I'll introduce. Thank you, Russell. That was amazing. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our moderator for the night, my friend and a master of brokers himself, Andres Acion.
Thank you. Let's go. It's so exciting. Russell, are you pumped? I hope you're pumped because we all want to go on this ship. Hey,
I'm pumped.
I hope so.
That would be great.
So I'm not blocking you.
No.
So thank you, Liana. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm so excited to be amongst all of you. I got to say, before we kick this off, last night I was having dinner here at an opening of a restaurant. Today, I'm back here in this neighborhood of Miami World Center area. And tomorrow is a big opening of the whole entire neighborhood. I mean, there's going to be thousands of people here. It is so impressive to walk this neighborhood right now. If you could lower the little bit of the feedback on the mic here. it's so impressive to walk that if you haven't done so at night, before you get in your car and leave, make sure to go downstairs and walk over to the back and walk around the restaurants and everything that's happening here, because Russell and his team were true visionaries to be a part of everything that's being developed here. And you would be remiss if you did not do so. So thank you again, Ileana. Hello, everybody. Wow, Russell, this is transformative. I love it. We've been giving a solid presentation of what the ship and the residences and the timeline is like. And now it's time to go into a deeper dive as to why and how this concept could reshape luxury real estate as we know it. For the next portion of our program, we're going to explore the broader idea of residences at sea as a lifestyle, the legal structure, the brand new category of real estate professionals like you who are going to be selling this, and what it really means as a home that travels the world. You know, when you say 140 cities, why buy one, pied-à-terre somewhere else when you could just buy this one that is going to be a home in 140 cities? How amazing is that? So to help us unpack this, we have our panel, which Russell was just finished introduce, which has, you were light on your introduction, Russell, but you've been building buildings all over the world. And although they said Miami, he's true, like family of 5 generations already in Miami Beach. So we're proud to have him here be such an icon for our city. So Michael Todd, General Counsel of GFO Investments, who will walk us through the legal mechanics and ownership model for this new concept. Michael brings over 20 years of legal leadership across industries from consumer brands to capital markets, and so many more. His deep expertise spans everything from real estate to M&A to labor law, data privacy, ESG, international deals. Today, he brings a wide range of insight to our conversation on the evolving world of luxury real estate. Please welcome Michael Todd. From the hospitality side, we welcome Steve Furness, Senior Vice President, as Russell had mentioned, from the Apollo Group. He will explain how the 5-star service works in your building that floats between continents. Born and raised in England with more than 30 years in the cruise and travel industry, Steve is the hospitality veteran who oversees hotel operations for 10 luxury ships with Oceania, Regent Seas, and Apollo's partnership with Virgin Voyagers. From the global HR to fleet administration and risk management, Steve brings a wealth of firsthand expertise to the world of luxury travel and service, and I'm sure we're going to see that with Crescent Seas. And finally, we're thrilled to include fellow Miami-based broker who will enlighten us on how to position and sell this concept to clients like yourself. Dominique Duque is a dynamic leader with over 15 years of experience in sales, marketing, and real estate. And we're looking forward to hearing from her as well. So let's get this party started. All right, Russell. We're all seasoned Miami brokers here, and we spent our careers selling luxury here on land. What's the most important mindset shift we need to make about understanding and marketing residences abroad like Crescent Seas versus your specialty projects around the world?
Thank you. So look, as I said earlier, we're all here to create magical places and to sell them in a demand and to make money. There's nothing wrong with that, because everybody in this room is a capitalist, and that's something we should be proud of. There's no reason for us not to be proud of that. So so you give yourself a round of applause, because at the end of the day, it's doing good for others does good for you, right? So like I said earlier, there are millions of condos sold on land throughout the world, but they're very stagnant. I mean, if you own a secondary home in New York, that's where your secondary home is. But if you own a secondary home at sea, which is 71% of the Earth's surfaces, you can be in the Baltic one month, and the Mediterranean the next month, in South America 2 months later, in China 4 months later. It's really every magical place on Earth. And what you do is you create a community of friends like never before, because you know what? You're sharing a yacht, 210 yachts put together in one 550-foot long ship. And you're exploring something that no other people can explore. You are together as a community going to the North Pole, the South Pole. You are feeling it and sensing it. So it's much more than any ordinary cruise. One of the things that we talk about is how is it different than going on a cruise today? Well, when you go on a cruise today in the Mediterranean, you go to Venice, you're back on the ship at 5 o'clock and out. That city, not seeing at night, is a crime. And the reason for it is a very simple reason, is the company that you bought your ticket from, whether it be Royal or NCL or Carnival, they have to get you back out. Why? Because they need to get you in the casino. They need to get you on board, because their onboard revenues, believe it or not, could be the only profit that they're making, because they're selling the tickets at cost. So that is the reason that they never stay overnight. They never stay late in port or anything else. So here's the opportunity to have that secondary home, not just in one place, whether it be New York, Los Angeles, or San Diego. This is a home that you will have as a secondary home throughout the world, and you will see and discover the world for what it all has to offer.
Yeah, you're definitely buying a home in 140 cities. Dominique, you want to add something to what Russell was just finished saying? How would you sell it? How do you see this as a different product, obviously, from the land, but what is your sales angle for selling this?
So, first of all, I think thank you. First, I think it's a very emotional purchase. Let's begin there. I think that somebody really has to connect with it, really has to feel it, right? It has to be something more emotional, something that you're immediately drawn into it because you're attracted more to that, you know, how to live versus where to live. More about, what the lifestyle looks like, having the ability to, like they say, new horizon every day, right? So it's more about that concept. I think it's more of an emotional purchase. People like myself, and I'm not just saying it because I'm sitting on the panel, like I love traveling, and the people around here that most of them know me know that. And, my kids are graduating in 4 years, and I'm the type of person that this would excite me. Like it makes me excited about, the possibility of this, that this exists out there, that there's an option out there where I can wake up every day or maybe every 3 days in a different place, that I have people on staff that are going to know, my likes, what I want, and that are going to really, give me the best level of service every day. And it just is not going to feel so transient, but more like really a home, a lifestyle.
For sure. I love that. And the fact that you don't have to worry about going to the airport to go to the next city, you're constantly going to the next city, and you're building a relationship really with an elite group of club members that are all owners on the Crescent Seas, which is unlike anything else. And you had mentioned the world, Russell, and one of the things that obviously this is so much more advantageous is the fact of the ability that you have of the connections with NCL and the other partnerships like Apollo to be able to leverage that and be able to do so much more, and not just the world, which is one ship. You have that ability. You want to expand a little bit on that and what Apollo brings into the mix?
Sure, thank you. So just to give you some perspective, we are currently managing today brands from ultra luxury, which is Region 7 Seas that Russell was in charge of, Oceania Cruises, founded by Frank Del Rio, another entrepreneur that I think probably many of the Cuban community are aware of, Mr. Del Rio. We manage Virgin Voyages for Richard Branson. We're managing a company in Europe, which is Marella, which is part of the TUI Group. The TUI Group is the largest travel company in the world. And then we have a cruise line in India. So we have a lot of different brands that we service. We're like a contractor in a hotel, except that we like to stay behind the curtain. We do not want any publicity. Our owner, a native of Spain, came to these shores in the late 50s. The reason we're called Apollo is because he formed his company in 1969 after the mission to the moon. And Raphael and Russell basically grew up in this industry, or rather met in this industry on Oceania. So I think our background, we are sailing on Region 7 Seas. We do world cruises. We also do segment cruises, which could be from, let's say, Australia up the Asian coastline, going to China, going to Japan. So we already have experience in these type of regions around the world, of which we're going to talk a little bit more about how we can create that community, because we're actually doing similar programs, which we're going to tailor specifically for this beautiful opportunity that I'm fortunate to be a part of.
Steve, I was talking to Nancy Blatcher, one of the agents here, and she loves to go on in some luxury ships that she was mentioning. And she was mentioning, but my kids also love to be out and explore and do, different things that you normally wouldn't do, whether it's hiking or swimming or whatnot. Can you explain a little bit about what Apollo is going to be doing to curate experiences for families specific that want to do different things upon the ship?
Sure. So what we're going to do is we already have a string of relationships in all of these countries. And obviously, if you take soft leisure, like let's say Costa Rica, zip lining, all of these type of worldwide experiences are available in a lot of countries. So we're going to curate just for Crescent Seas a product that befits the type of owners that go on board, because it's going to be multi-generational families. There's going to be grandparents, there's going to be the mother and father, and then there's going to be young kids. So we are going to spend the next 16 months tailoring our very deep knowledge of the different countries, and every different countries comes with customs of their own country. And as an example, we have approximately 60 different nationalities on board. So when we're in Mumbai, because a partner of mine, Ian, who's worked with us on board, Ian Banerjee from Mumbai, he has graduated from working as a butler on board to selling cruises for Norwegian region, and he's going to help us in his part-time, because he's got to sell condos in the week, and then he's got to work for me on the weekend, to put together in these different cities really far-reaching family activities, because who better to help us in Mumbai than Ian, who's from Mumbai?
And Steve, just to stop you for a second there, because you said a lot of family activities, and a lot of people are under the impression when you're going on these ships that it's for only, older people. And that really isn't the case. If somebody has a family and they have kids, is there schooling? What happens in that situation?
So what we're going to be doing is put forwarding or producing a menu of activities in all these countries, because if we're in Rio, we probably want to do some beach activity with Copacabana. In the evening, we're going to go to for a young, let's say a young adult or in their 20s or 30s, we're going to find a great club in the center of town. So all of those experiences we're putting together. We obviously, when we compare the worldwide activity of this ship, we run the ship today, the Regent Seven Seas Navigator. She's in Dubrovnik today. Actually, one of your sales team, Christopher, jumped on board the ship to get his orientation and to start advertising this beautiful experience.
You want to get oriented as well, yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying.
So I'll finish.
You guys want to get oriented?
Excuse me, tomato or tomato? So we have in each corner of the globe, and I'm going to introduce a very young lady who makes me look good, which is exceedingly difficult in a minute, I'll introduce her right now. Beatrice, could you please wave for the audience?
Let's go, Beatrice.
So Beatrice is responsible for our 18,000 crew members and all our different brands. And so basically, she's been in South Africa in the summer because we hire a lot of South Africans. So when the ship will pull into Cape Town, which she will do on this trip, we will be curating all the different opportunities in Cape Town. Beatrice's right hand in Cape Town is August, who worked with us on board the ship. He got off to have a family and he has young kids. And so who better to help us put those programs together, of which there's going to be a very deep, rich menu of all of this type of immersion, which I could talk for hours. I mean, we'll do culinary, let's say, trips to the market. So in Istanbul, our executive chef there's a lot of cooking programs.
I'm sure we get those spices.
Exactly. So in Istanbul, the executive chef will go to the market. He will take those of you who want to be involved either with a cooking class on board, or you will buy the vegetables for our French chef or our Turkish chef, because we have crew from every part of the world. It's a beautiful community, 60 nationalities. What I love the most is I have Russians and Ukrainians working side by side on the ship with not a single problem, because they love to work and they love people. And that's where this young lady, all the way from the south of France, is going to be supporting this venture in helping us. And quite honestly, we haven't got to hire anyone for this ship, because every single crew member on board today wants to be part of this journey. And to finish, this ship is one of the most asked for Rather, it's sold out permanently because it's a small ship. And once you've been on the board the ship with either your cabin steward or your butler, all the current guests on board, they want to take the crew home because they're intimately involved with the crew, which then will transcend to this particular brand. So I hope that
Thank you.
helps you.
Yes, for sure. So we love it. So Michael Todd, General Counsel, explain to us, how is it different to buy in this cruise ship versus what we're familiar with, which is a traditional, for whatever to say, condominium?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this ship is like a condo in a lot of ways. In other ways, it's a little different. It's like a condo in the sense that it'll have a board, which is called a residence committee. That's a committee of all the residents represented by a smaller board of directors that will oversee the operations of the entire ship. That residence committee is owned by all the different residents on the ship. So that's similar to an HOA. What's different about it is it's like a co-op in that you get a percentage interest based on what square footage you buy compared to the aggregate square footage. That's your percent interest in the entity or residence committee that owns the ship. So in theory, if all 200 units were equal square footage, you would have a 0.5% interest in the ship, and that's your ownership interest. So that makes it more like a co-op, which makes it different than a condo. Similar to a condo, it'll have all the rules and regulations that condos have. It'll, have certain background checks in order to, if you want to come on the ship, you need to pass certain tests. Just like a high-end condo, you need to, have a right of first refusal when you go to sell your unit someday, where the condo can potentially buy it. And offer it. That maintains the value of the ship. And so it'll have the same or similar rules like a condo. The one thing to note just on the legal side and just to get the big picture, this is not real estate and it's not condo law. It's actually a bundle of rights. You're getting residential use rights, permanent residential use rights to your particular condo, exclusive rights to you. And then you get common perpetual rights or non-exclusive common rights to the entire shared area on the ship. So at closing, you won't get a recorded deed, if you will. It's not real estate. You'll get a certificate of use rights, which is the equivalent of title. And that's not recorded, but it's maintained by the residence committee in the official corporate record books. And that, when you transfer or sell your unit, that's what you do. Or if you want to do financing or things like that, that is your certificate, the equivalent of title. It's not actually recorded title, but it's the equivalent of that. So I hope that gives you a good understanding.
It does. It does. Russell, when I'm not on the ship and somebody wants to give it, is there a way of giving it back to you to rent it?
For sure.
Can I rent it myself?
For sure.
What are sort of the parameters that are involved?
Yes. Thank you, Andreas, for raising that. So basically, this ship, you will be able to give it back to us to rent for you, or you can rent it directly yourself. The only restriction is that we ask you to rent it for a month. But it's really easy to get on and off. We are spending a lot of money for storage, so you'll have an owner's cabinet when you want to get off, and if you want to give it to someone else to stay. I'm sure many owners will not want that, but there will be owners that do want that. And we actually think it's very positive for the community because it brings new blood into the community. It also can pay your entire maintenance for the year. So if you're only on board 6 months a year and you put it out to rent for 6 months a year, you should be able to pay your maintenance for the entire year. So it doesn't pay you anything on your capital, but the apartments on board are very reasonable. They're on average right in the $2 million range. So I think it's extremely reasonable. I think that it's a great buy. The other thing I was going to touch on is Steve really, understates what we create, okay? And whether it's in the theater or the piano bar or you really have a social club here. It's something really, really special. And I think Dominique, you can see it almost in her passion. And it really, I think she said it so well. I mean, you really, right in the beginning, because you know what? There's 80,000 people who have gone on more than one world cruise. You have to think of that number. 80,000 people have gone on more than one world cruise. Typically, a world cruise is 135 to 185 days. Our first world cruise will be 430 days because we'll be staying a little bit longer in each location. So we do know that there's a strong market for this, but we also know that we have to get the word out. And how do you get the word out? You get the word out through your brokerage community. You guys are the most important element to anything that has to do with real estate. And even though it may be a little bit legally different, if a duck quacks, and if you hear a quack, it's a duck. It is a home. It is your home. And that's really what I would say about that.
And you're studying an experience and a home around the world. Dominique, you want to touch up on who do you think is your ideal buyer? Is it somebody who's downsizing? Is it somebody who's ultra net worth? Is it somebody who just wants to have a pied-à-terre, but that pied-à-terre happens to be in 140 cities? Elaborate a little bit on that.
Of course. So I don't know if you have heard of Semester at Sea. Have many of you heard of this? Semester at Sea. So it's a program that actually a lot of my friends went on when I was in college. And I was so upset at my parents that they didn't send me, even if they wanted to. It's something you would have to reserve with years in advance. So I need to start doing that for my son. But it's an experience that my friends to this day remember. And the reason why they remember it is because of the sense of community that they built, right? They're going through different experiences. They're going to different countries. They're living different things every day, right? They're really discovering together. And I think that that sense of community impacts all ages. We can't pigeonhole it to just, the empty nesters or just to, the young entrepreneur that has a worldview. I think that there's so much in between. And I think that a lot of young families and families like myself would be open to experiences like that. So I think that it's not really limited to an age. I think it's more about a lifestyle and a type of just life that you want to live either by yourself or with your family.
And I got to say that whenever we're studying condos here in South Florida, one of the most important things to us is it going to get built? Is it a reputable developer? Are they going to do it on time? Do they know what they're doing? And Russell, with this project, really truly has come full circle, right? Because you started your career with condo conversions, right? Then you went into, the cruise ship world. You not only that, but you became an investor and chairman, and now, and building condos, and now you're putting it all together. And so if anybody could do this well and better than anybody else, it has to be you. So, I'm betting on you on that.
It feels like it's been 50 years of training. 50 years of training. So I better get it right after so much time. But there's another thing that also happened here that made it truly possible today, where it may not have been possible 10, 20 years ago, because three things happened. Number one, when COVID happened, people got used to working from home. So that was something that really changed the mentality of a lot of people. The second thing is the satellites got so much better because every ship had satellite connections, but they never had quality satellite connections. And then we also had Elon, who came along with his Starlink, which also helps. So there's nowhere in the world when you are on board that you can't be in your home office in Miami, Berlin, China, Japan. That changed things. The other thing that changed things, and it came about from COVID, is the at-home schooling became so much better. It became so much better because so many different companies entered into creating course material for the first grader, the second grader, the third grader. So now all of a sudden you have the opportunity to teach your kids in homeschooling, bring them into the reality of where the world is today, to help them discover the world, become intellectually stimulating for the kids, and for them to benefit from having the private time of their parents together with them. So I think it's really all different age groups that this would appeal to. And it's really just getting the word out. And we have to rely on our brokerage community, which we really are appreciative to each and every one of you.
Russell, and I want to tap with Michael on how to buy and how to finance this. Will you talk a little bit about pricing and maintenance and how that works in general? Because you're all used to condo maintenance. What is ship maintenance like? What does that look like?
So ship maintenance. So what we have going for us is the fact that this ship has been under the NCL operation, and we have this best nation status, What they pay for food is what we pay for food. So when you're part of a company that has 100,000 people at sea, or like Steve, where he has 150,000 people at sea every day, they're going to buy food cheaper than you are. Fuel. NCL has 100 people buying fuel. The world has one. So the difference in cost is really very meaningful. And we know what it is because we have 20 years of history. So we know that what the maintenance is. So for an apartment that would cost you $1.25 million, completely brand new and renovated, the maintenance is about $17,000 a month. And that would include everything, including the 280 people that work on board the ship. That would include everything except one other charge, which is a charge for food. The food charge is $32,500, which is less than $100 a day, but it includes as much as you ever want to eat, and it's a credit. So the credit means that you have to use it, and you can use it. So you may have salad one night, and the guy next to you may have a Chateaubriand. But whatever it is, it's against the credit. And it's the same thing that you would do if you went to a high-end club, whether it be a golf club or any other type of club. It's the same type of thing. If you stay year-round, that's what it's going to cost you. That includes your taxes, that includes your insurance, that includes everything, including the fuel to go around the world.
And the alcohol.
And the alcohol. And the alcohol.
It's the other fuel.
That's for sure.
So, Michael, how is it that you finance this? Can you finance it? What is it like? Because you tapped on it a little bit, but explain a little bit of how that process works. Is it able? What do you do there?
Is this on? Yeah. Okay. What do you all need to know in terms of doing a purchase agreement, doing financing, all these sorts of questions?
Yeah, if you're buying it,
finance. Yeah, exactly. We have a simple purchase agreement approach, just like a condo. When you're buying it, it can be financed. You cannot put a lien on it or a security interest, but you can, and so therefore you can borrow, but if a bank wants to take a lien off of the unit, that's not permitted by the master covenants. The way our purchase agreement works is just like a condo. It's actually a shorter, simpler agreement. We have an in-house team that's used to doing lots of purchase agreements for lots of Russell's projects, all the different condos being sold right now, including 14 Rock. It's very similar to that. Our team holds your hand through getting the contract signed up. You just make sure if you want to get your commission, your name's listed there, which it would be. Our team tracks all that. And we sign the purchase agreement. They put their deposit down. They get the master covenants, and away you go. So it's a fairly straightforward process like a condo. In terms of mortgages and whatnot, this is a new product. So the market has not really evolved yet. It's completely...
City National's here and they're listening.
Yeah,
We have our main sponsor listening to this.
It's a completely new area, and it'll be interesting to see. You wouldn't call it a mortgage because while you're getting a bundle of rights to your unit, essentially real estate, it's not real estate. So that remains to be seen how it will evolve over time.
I would say this, it's really the beginning of an industry. Whenever there's a beginning of an industry, it evolves. And I promise you, within 2 years, 3 years, there will be financing from not only City National, but from all of your local banks. And it's just getting used to the product. So what we're saying to you is get in on the ground floor. Find the people who, everybody in this room knows people who love cruising. This is really an opportunity to discover the world.
An adventure.
An adventure. It's an adventure. Get in on the adventure now.
Exactly. I'm sure we have some questions here. Tell me, raise your hands. Oh, we got a Penny. Jason, go ahead. Taxes.
I think that's a great question because I should have said it before.
Penny always has great questions.
So our ship is licensed in the Bahamas. So, and by owning on our ship, you can actually qualify for a golden visa in the Bahamas. You can also, because the Bahamas' relationship with St. Lucia, you can qualify for a relationship with St. Lucia. You can have a secondary passport. But the real advantage, unfortunately, is not for the Americans. It's really for the Canadians, the South Americans, and the rest of the world, other than Americans, and today, as of April 6th, British people. Because the British people and the Americans are the only two people that are taxed on their worldwide income regardless. But if you're from Canada and you call this ship your home, your tax situs, you only would pay in Canada the taxes for the money you earned in Canada. So if you had a piece of real estate, you would pay tax on that in Canada. But other than that, your interest on your bank accounts, all the other income would be subject to Bahamas. And if anybody doesn't know it, I will tell you the tax in the Bahamas is zero. And the time on the ship counts as being in the Bahamas. So it is an opportunity and a deal second to none because the tax savings will pay multiples of what your cost of buying is and your cost of maintenance is.
So is it 6 months in a day or?
No, it's you could live on the ship. What you would save in taxes if you're a Canadian citizen is enough to pay for the ship and the maintenance year round.
No, but I'm saying for you to say that that is your home,
Right.
do you have to live there more than 6 months?
Every country is a little bit different.
So what is in the Bahamas?
Every country. So the Bahamas, you don't. There's no limitation on the Bahamas. I think it's 300. There's 365 days. Even if you're Canadian, you can go back to Canada. I think 145 days. You know, every jurisdiction is a little bit different. You really have to send them to their accountants. But the reality is this is real. This is real, and it's an unfortunate thing. And
My Todd there is itching to say something on that. I was just get out of there.
That's the federal income tax level. And then to be a little more granular, there's no real estate tax. There's no transfer tax. There's no VAT tax. And this because of the product being sold here.
That's a very nice point.
Yeah.
You're not
Just
paying about 2% that you're paying here every year, right? So you're
or the sales tax, or the import tax, or the duties that you would pay in America. You will not
tariffs. What about
on tariffs also. You will not pay anything.
Can I throw that in there for Russell? Go ahead.
I'm really happy you asked that question. So there's 3 products out there, okay? It's our product, which will be selling at 5,500, but the first 100 units, we're putting it out initially in an average price of about 3,400. The world, if you go and look at the world, you'll see that everything on the world is about 5,400 to 5,600. So we are sizably underneath what the pricing is for the world. The Alicia is another ship that's out there selling today. It's a to-be-built ship, and that is selling roughly in the 11,800 to 12,000 a square foot. And the reason for that is to build a ship like this today is over $9,000 a square foot. That's what it takes to build a ship like this today. So this is a real value. We believe that before we end in selling our 210 units, that our price will be higher than 5,500 because our ship is much nicer than the world and will certainly be totally renovated and something that will look brand new, just like we did on land in 25 Broad, the Raffaello, all of these types of examples of property.
Questions? Or here? Yes.
You have a certificate, you will sell that certificate, and it's just like a club. It's like a membership, right? And the only reason we call it more like a condo is the rules are more like a condominium. You don't have to worry that somebody can stop you from selling or something of that nature.
Back here. Go ahead. Yes. A little louder, please.
They have locked up at my data center. Will it be
What's the medical situation on the ship?
So the medical situation is actually going to be managed by Norwegian because they have, again, the complete company. So there will be a medical doctor, there will be nurse, there will be we're probably going to increase the budget depending, again, on the demographics on board. So as to get into the details of dialysis, I really wouldn't want to venture. We can, through Russell's relationship, table those sort of questions. But again, there is a full-time doctor, full-time nurse. Our current average age on the Navigator is north of 74 years old. So it's a pretty busy medical center. So I'm being polite. So and we deal with all sorts of issues around the world. We have to do, unfortunately, medivacs. The reality is on a cruise ship of this age, you have a gentleman by the name of Captain Javelin who lived on board this ship for 15 years because that was his home. He had his corner table for two, Dover Sole, Ian, right? Dover Sole every day, and he basically got off the ship to say goodbye to his family. So we are very used to dealing with the medical, or rather Norwegian is with the medical services, but as to specific health, I wouldn't really like to venture that.
I will tell you this, is that NCL has always gone out of their way to cater to people, and they have a portable dialysis unit that can go on any ship, and they put it on ships. But again, usually people who are doing dialysis don't want to live on a ship. You know, that's typical what happens. And we don't plan on the age of the people on this ship to be that old. We believe that we will have more families, more people interested in discovery. You can personalize your cabin by bringing your own art, by bringing your own wine collection, and by bringing your own cigar collection. You can bring your own scuba gear and your own bicycle, but we have scuba gear and we have bicycles on board. We have a complete internet. We have individual offices that you can actually have schooling in if you want education in. As Steve said, we offer all types of educational processes, including cooking school, if anybody wants to do that. And
so I'd like to just interject on what Russell was saying. In this day and age of an Apple tablet or a mobile phone, there's a lot of people who are technically challenged. So I use the younger boys and girls in my office to help me. On board the ship, we have a full-time resident that will be assisting those of you who get new toys, new gadgets, whether that's earbuds or whether that's the tablet, which I think is very important because a lot of obviously discerning wealthy individuals, they want to connect with their portfolios, and to have someone on site that you're going to know the name, the resident will know the name of. He's going to be central. You know, he has his own office and he's available all throughout the day and obviously not in the night, but those type of services I think are very important because particularly on the ships today, what Russell was saying, the minute someone boards the ship, the first thing they want to do is get on the Wi-Fi. So we have all of those services as part of the agreement with.
Thank you, Steve.
On board.
Real quick, Michael, what is insurance like? Is it come with a purchase? Do you purchase it? What does that look like?
So the ship has its full insurance on board. The thing that you want to do is insure your wine collection or your art, whatever you bring on board. It's your personal products, and by all means insure it.
Fantastic.
And that's all covered in the maintenance.
Thank you.
So the ship was put into service in '99. It is a double hull. It was a double hull Russian designed ship that is really beautiful in the water. And I invite everybody, because the ship will continue to sail, I invite you to book on NCL if you can get a reservation. I think it's 100% booked. But I can tell you, I've been on at least 100 ships, and some ships ride better in the water than others. This is a classical ride. It's a double hull, which is very uncommon. You very seldom find it. It'll give us the ability to visit places that no one else will ever be able to visit. And it just rides in the water just beautifully. We do have some images of it coming in and out of Miami, and it's worth looking at in the sales office because you see how it just glides in the water. It's fabulous.
Dominique, do you want to add anything before I go to the next question?
So one quick thing that I did want to add, going back a little bit to the demographic, I think that we have to keep in mind that a lot has happened, as we all know, especially in places like Miami, where we all been working for all these years, post-COVID. But one of the things that also happened with families like my own is that the way that we really bond, the way that we really find quality time together is going through experiences together, right? Is really having the ability to disconnect. We were talking about technology. How hard is it to get your kids to disconnect from that iPad, from that phone, right? And the only way that we have been able to achieve that is when we're traveling, when we're living things together. So where I'm going with this is don't don't just pigeonhole it to a certain type of person or that they're in their certain phase in life. I think that there's a huge opportunity if the product is presented the right way, to really present it to families. Like I said, I mean, I'm the perfect example. I would love to have that experience with my family, right? And to be able to rent it out for 6 months or to, live there for a year. So don't really look the other way and just focus on a certain demographic. I think that's
Sold. I love that. That's going to be a sound clip. Go ahead.
Thank you, Andres. I came here tonight because just literally last month I got off the Navigator in Lisbon. I spent 2 weeks crossing the Atlantic from Miami to Lisbon, stopping in St. George and Bermuda and the Azores and Madeira. This ship is exactly as Russell said, calm as could be crossing the Atlantic. As Michael just said, thank you so much. The reason I came is to find out what form are we taking here. Those of us who work in Manhattan and a few handful of condos or co-ops in Coral Gables, cooperative form of ownership is perfectly legal and perfect, and it works very, very well as long as you understand you're buying stock in a property. And secondly, and to Russell's point, again, the ship was so calm, so perfect. And Steve, thank you. Your crew was amazing. The Apollo group, from the sommelier on down to the technician who was helping us all with our Wi-Fi connections, were perfect 100%. The baristas made the best coffees, better than I could get at Starbucks. But the thing was just so incredible. And the reason I wanted to come here tonight was to learn about the ownership. So, Michael, thank you for that. So now I can sell a product to my customers, and I can give them an experience that already stays.
Thank you very much, Shasta.
So, Russell, you got to give him at least $5. Like, you got to throw this guy something. Yeah. Another question? Anybody? Yes, go ahead.
I just got off with the 7C Marin. Oh, God. It was 16 days. I'm still a little jet lagged from that. And I've done over 80 cruises myself. And it's a great way to live life. I don't know. Like a cruiser. I am a cruiser. Anyway, the biggest question I have here is, what's the commission?
Anybody else care about that? Show me the money, Mr. Capitalist.
Andres, well, 1 second. How was the food, sir? Thank you.
There you go.
Amazing.
Apollo's job is done. This.
So let me tell you, we are paying a full 6% commission, even though that this is really easy to sell. We are paying a full 6% commission.
How is that paid, Russell?
In cash. Although I will tell you, we do have one person who basically says, and it's a true story, he says, I only want to buy a unit on board. So I'm going to keep selling you until I can afford the unit on board. So
there you go. Sounds like he's got to continue to sell to pay the maintenance. So he's got to. Anybody? Yes, please.
So let me tell you, every cruise ship is identical will go into dry dock for 2 or 3 days every 3 years. They're all the same. They take them into dry dock. They take the water out. They fix the barnacles. They remove them. They grease the propellers. They grease the chains on the anchor. They all really go through that type of maintenance. The thing that was important to me, why I picked the Navigator and the Insignia as the two ships to start initially, is because I was more or less in control of them for 20 plus years. I know that they got all the service that they're supposed to get. I know that they were taken care of very, very well. So there is nothing hidden. We have the historical records. We have, and we make them available to any purchaser. If you want to see the inspection reports, anything you want to see, it's available to you because we're completely transparent. These ships are beautiful. They're in service today. You have 2 gentlemen who just came off of them. By the way, it was a critical decision whether to buy the Navigator or the Mariner, and we had the choice. And I want you to know that both of them are great ships, and don't be surprised if you see the Mariner sometime in our future. Okay? They're really special ships.
Please continue.
Yeah. It's 371 square foot unit. Yeah, and it's about $17,000 to $18,000 a month. Correct. No, there's no other carry costs, and there's no other expenses. It includes your help on board. It includes everything other than this.
The food.
What? Yeah, that's it. 17. Yeah, that's included. Of course, so that's factored in. The dry docks every 3 years. Everything is factored in. That's in the budget. Absolutely.
No, the maintenance is
No,
going to be different
the ma-
depending on the size.
The maintenance is different. There's two parts to this whole thing. The maintenance is based upon how much is exclusively yours to the total that's in the ship. So that will be proportioned with the size of your cabin versus anything else. What is not proportioned is individually your food credit. You're going to buy individually. Each person will buy their food credit for $32,500. So if somebody buys their cabin and they are in their cabin alone, they're not paying $65,000, which somebody who's a couple will be paying, right? And you use whatever you want to use. You'll never get a check because when you come home to your cabin, you'll see it on your screen in your camera. I'm sorry, not in your camera, in your TV. And Steve is the guy responsible. His company will make sure that you're treated with dignity, with respect, with the kindness that was shown to you on the Navigator. And the only reason we do it that way is to be fair, because some people will have Chateaubriand and lobster every night. Other people will not, So there had to be some fairness of equality on the food that you consume. That would be typical of any private club or any private golf course or anything else.
But if you consume over the allotted amount, then
you pay more.
Right.
Simple.
All right, that's it. Well, thank you very much. One last quick question because they're giving me the.
Well, the food is ready. That's why.
You handle assessments on a 25-year-old ship, is it?
So the maintenance is established. If you want to guarantee your maintenance, and by the way, you can do that. Special assessments. There should be no special assessments because NCL manages the ship for the first 10 years. So you're pretty well taken care of on that. But there would be, depending on the look, the world's been in existence up to now. It has not had a major dry dock. They did think of doing a major dry dock 10 years ago where they were going to stretch the ship and sell those units in order to pay for the dry dock, but they never went forward with it. So you're going to have a ship that's brand new. So, probably 20 years from now, you might want to go ahead and renovate it again. But it's everything that's coming out will be brand new, including the electric plugs in the doors and the walls and so on. So
thank you very much. We're looking forward to having an amazing dinner, food. No? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody, all of our amazing panelists once again. Incredible information. Thank you, everyone from Crescent Seas. Just some final housekeeping notes, if I may. If you did not get your parking validated, you should have. Please come see me and we'll take care of it. And if you want to see something really cool, this is Chris Dollar was kind enough to bring this relic. This is the Master Broker credit membership card from 2001. And so if you're interested in holding a piece of history, come see me as well, and then I'll let you take a picture with it. So.
And please make sure that before you leave, take a tour, walk back, check out what's going on right behind here. It truly is a magical neighborhood. So enjoy. Anything else?
Yes. Thank you to Claudia and Ivory for helping with the check-in as always, and a big hand for our moderator Andres Ascion.
Thank you. Thank you, panel. Thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoyed it.